Yes. So firstly, thanks to everybody for joining. Really appreciate you taking time out of your Friday. I was on a webinar some time ago, and it started at 5 o'clock on a Friday. So I think now that the bottle stores are open in South Africa, that's not going to work. So we thought we'd have it like at a pre-lunchtime webinar. So we'll kick that off. So I think most of you know who we are at Winjit. I assume you can all see my screen. So we've been around for some 15 years or so, and over 10 years been in operation here in South Africa. Software development, developing technology products, utilizing various skill sets that we have in house. We've got quite a focus on the financial services sector, but I've also moved into producing our own products, and this is primarily what today is about, to talk about some of the solutions that we've developed in-house. Not quite, consumer-driven, definitely enterprise-level services, but able to integrate with their existing technologies as well. So, and one of the things we're very proud of is our business unit that specializes in our design, so our BTG group. They make our UI and UX, such a great part of all of our offerings. So a great offering and a great all-round service, I think, from the business analysis to the design and then the implementation and integration with existing systems, and we cover all the bases there. So I talked about some of our solutions, and obviously IoT and machine learning. We've got a couple of products that we've developed in that space. IoT Sense and our Predict Sense products, but digital publishing being mobile applications, that kind of thing, enterprise mobility, building mobile framework for enterprises. Product engineering is kind of the core, the heart of our business, and I see Ketan, the business unit head for that, has just joined the call, so it's great to have him on board as well. So that's kind of the core of our business, building products from scratch, understanding a need and putting them together. And we use these skills and this is just an overview. Jay was giving me a list of things. We couldn't fit them all on the slide, but a list of technologies that we have expertise in, skills that we're available to you either as part of a service, as part of our service offering. We also, we can offer them as part of to augment your existing team. Not necessarily, we have to build the product for you. If you're building something and you need some skills, we can help you with that. But I think our core is kind of bringing different technologies together to deliver a complete offering. Very proud to say that a few of our products, our Predict Sense and IoT Sense and Vision Sense products, recently loaded up onto the Microsoft Azure marketplace, so giving us global reach for these products and really making the offering global and out to a much wider audience. So what are we talking about today is obviously we're all on this call because probably none of us are in the office, so if not none, then not very many. Because of this kind of pandemic that we're living through at the moment. Such a weird time to be around, and a story that nobody would believe if you told them, 6 months ago we'd be doing this. It's incredible. But what it has done is it's obviously disrupted, the political, socioeconomic, financial businesses. Our whole lives have been disrupted by this, and a whole change of attitude. As we say, many industries are forced to operate under limited conditions or completely closed down. A lot of businesses are going under. They've started resuming operations now and gradually going, back to work. I actually went to see a client yesterday who, they used to be in the fortunate situation where they manufacture labels for beer, and now they're not making labels because the orders are not coming through from the breweries as quick as they'd like. So the message from him is drink more. So on a Friday we can say that, but that's is a real issue facing businesses in that space. So what we're looking to do is kind of promote what is the new normal? This is what everybody's saying. Are you ready for the new normal? What the heck is the new normal going to be? How do we get ourselves ready for that? And we, as Winjit, we come up with a few solutions, and today we're going to talk about three of them. Our WinCare, our Space Manager, and our Swift Collect solutions, which will hopefully help add some value to you guys. Even if it's not something you come back to us with, at least you have an idea of what our capabilities are, and what is available in the market, and how we can maybe help. And if it's not these particular solutions, perhaps it's something you need and you have a certain requirement for. Obviously, that's something we can have a chat about. So I'm going to introduce Mbali to you guys. She's going to give us a little bit of a talk on the WinCare, on the health register application, and she's going to, oh no, I'm lying, that's Jay's going to be doing that. So Jay's doing that, there's a laugh there, absolutely. Jay's going to be talking about WinCare, and then we'll get on to the next thing. If you've got any questions or comments, there is a comments section, so if we can, just type your comments or questions in that section. We'll either try and get to them at the end of each topic, if that's possible, or probably we've got a section at the end for if we have time for question and answers. So, if we can just cover it like that, rather than trying to interrupt in the middle. And if you do have to, then that's fine as well. So, Jay, I'm going to let you go ahead with that. You're still on mute, fella, so if you can just get off there, and then we'll crack on.
Perfect. Thank you, Stu, and welcome everyone. So, Stu, we are 3.5 hours ahead of South Africa. So the weekend has already started here. So yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. So what we feel is with the economy opening up across the globe, employees have started going to the offices and factories, and the schools have also opened up. So my kids are now going to school, and the risk of the COVID spread is higher at these times rather than it was when there was complete lockdown. So what we feel is, and I think South Africa is also in like 3+ level, right? And it has to go to 2, but I think there is some mistake made by the government. It should be 3-, not 3+. Okay? But yeah. So now it's imperative for the employers and the institutions and the schools to keep a record of the employee health. And by health, what we mean is their body temperatures. Every day if they come to the office, so most of the times asymptomatic transmission happens, okay? And it won't be a case that all of a sudden one day if Jai comes to office and his temperature is beyond 37 degrees, he is a risk for the office. Come on, the day before is also a risk, okay? And how do we identify that risk? How does an employer identify that risk? Also, what has happened is the government has set up a few SOPs, like standard operating procedures, and they have come up with the declaration form and stuff. And each organization is adding a few more questions to the declaration form, which would suit their organization. Now, it is pretty difficult for an employee to submit that declaration. Either he has to go to the office and submit a declaration in writing, or there has to be some way to do it, rather than moving away from the touch or the manual paper-driven approach. So considering these cases in mind, we have come up with a very simple solution. I would say it's also a solution, what we call as WinCare, which helps us to employees to keep a record of the health and submit COVID declarations. So at a very high level, the features which the application provides is submit declarations, maintain health registry, and reports and trends on the employee health. The benefits that we could see out of the system, and this application, we are using it within our organization as well. So it's an early warning system. So there is a machine learning engine in the background which tries to, based on the employee temperatures, it predicts what would be the next temperature. And it also takes into account the geographical region, like within the zip code and the pin code. I'll show you the details in the later section. So it takes into account those and gives you a trend of your future trend of the temperatures. It also allows employees to submit declarations by themselves. And it also enables tracking and reporting on that data set. So I'll just move on to the next slide. The entire application has three user journeys. Three types of users can access it. First being the employees. So for the employees, it's an app which the employee can download and they can submit their COVID declarations from the home itself. Now, what happens is if there are any activities which happen which are critical to the employee's health, as in the area gets restricted, so there is a COVID positive case in that area or that compound or that region, these activities have to be reported back to the organization. Now, this app allows us to submit those declarations again and update the statuses. It also helps the nurses. So the nurses who visit the premises, the offices or the schools. So it also helps the nurses to take temperatures and keep a record of those temperatures. Okay. And there are cases when maybe an employee would not have a smartphone to submit his declarations. So the nurses can do it on their behalf. And the third user that allows us is an office admin who gets an early warning system. So it's like an early warning system wherein if there is a gradual rise in temperature over last 5 days for an employee, it's an indication that the office admin should take an action, maybe take that person to a doctor or maybe send him home and ask him to work from home. And it allows the office admin to understand who can work from the office and who can work from home. Okay, so that's a very high level feature listing that we have implemented in this solution. If you go to the next screens, we'll see here. So the view is for the office admin view, wherein there is a small dashboard where it shows how many employees are scanned today, what's the maximum temperature, what's the minimum temperature for the day, what's the graph of my temperature, average temperatures of all my employees or all my students, and then I can do a temperature capture, I can submit an app form. And the best part is that let's say there are guests coming over to your offices, it also allows you to capture temperatures for your guests. Now let's say in the back end, there is a trigger or there is an upper limit of what temperature is allowed. So in the system currently we have configured it 37 according to the standards. So anybody who is more than 37 degrees in temperature, it would automatically trigger an email to the admin staff saying, okay, this person who was just on the gate, the temperature recorded on the gate is 37 degrees. So you have to take some action on it. And in the app itself, it shows in red. So either you have to send that person home or maybe retake the temperature and check again. The next part of this is okay. Now this basically is my the COVID declaration form. So the entire application is integrated. If it's an organization, it is integrated with their Active Directory. So all the information for the employee's name, his position, date of birth, and stuff is imported from there, and the employee can submit his details also. Like he can fill in the declaration. There are terms and conditions. Organizations can create their own terms and conditions or put clauses into it, which the employee has to accept it and move forward and submit the declaration forms. Now this is all on the front end. How does it look in the back end for an office admin? So that's basically a very high level graph wherein it shows you what's the maximum temperature today, how many employees or students were scanned, what's an average temperature, and also like it is mandatory in India that anybody who's coming to office should submit the declaration form. So how many declaration forms from my entire workforce are pending? So that information can be seen right away. The second graph which shows is it's basically based on my PIN code or the zip code. So what is the average temperature ranging in that zip code? There is a possibility that some particular areas which are like high on COVID positive cases, the temperature would be at a higher side. So it gives us an indication which areas we should, employees of which areas we should not call them to offices. And below is basically the maximum and minimum temperatures of that employee. After that, the graph is what's the difference between yesterday and today? Is the employee temperature going up or going down? And on the next is a small widget which shows what's the difference between the minimum and maximum temperature within last 10 days. If you see somebody who is like the temperature difference is 2 degrees, it's basically a risk for the organization, and the admin staff should take an action. Now, in the backend also, like we don't have a screenshot for this. In the backend, there is a machine learning algorithm that sits, and based on the temperatures which are added, based on the demographic, the age, the geographical location, the department, all considering all those parameters, it would predict what the temperatures would be of these employees, and it would give you an early warning system. Yeah, so that's basically a very small application that we have built. It's based on Android and iOS, and it also has a web version for those who don't have mobile phones. And for the admin, it's again based on it's a web version itself. Yeah.
Excellent, Jay. Thank you very much for that overview, mate. That's really useful. So the next one we're going to talk about is our Space Manager application in Bali. Is going to give us a rundown on that. So yeah, give us another couple of minutes, and then Bali will kick off with that.
Good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are in the world. Okay, so we're going to take you through our Space Manager. So after we've actually captured all your health details, we actually need to make sure that there's enough social distancing. So Space Manager is a social distancing and occupancy solution that allows employees to actually book their space from anywhere. It's a real-time solution that is cloud-based. It allows you to actually also set up appointments with your customers. It works in different environments. For your employees, you can actually have a mobile app where they can actually set up their appointments or book office space. We've got a user journey of how it would work. For your employees, they would be able to actually access it from everywhere. If you don't have enough office space to actually allow all your employees to be at work, mainly because we are not at 100% capacity at this moment. We are working at about 70. And others at about 30. So it would actually have to comply with the different regulations. So the employee would be able to actually access the app and book the space to say, I'm actually coming in on the office, coming to the office on Wednesday. The app allows them to log in. They've got their credential. The system can be integrated to Active Directory. You then book the space, you book your appointment for whichever office. It actually also caters for multiple locations, multiple countries, and multiple time zones as well. You are able then to check availability of the space just to make sure that whoever will be at the office, will have a desk or an office to actually work from. You are then informed if your booking has been successful or not, and you actually get the application on your app or on email. So this actually then works in a sense that should you, like for instance, in South Africa, we've got let's say our transport services where you need to book your appointment. There's long queues, and at this particular moment, social distancing is actually our top priority. So basically, this is how it actually works. So can we actually go to our next slide? All right, so it's actually highlighting, this slide is actually highlighting everything I've actually also spoken about. You can also, when you get to the office, scan the QR code to say that your booking was actually approved. Like I said, you get real-time notifications. We can just move on to the next one as well. All right, so basically this is the back end part of it where you have somebody that sort of administers the solution. They're able to actually view the capacity of the office. You've got the floor plan, you've got all that detail, so you're able to actually better plan. It enables HR as well to actually, better manage their staff. So you've got cutoff times in terms of, what time to what time can you actually book your appointment. The admin can actually also access the report to say who was at the office, and I think this will interlink with the health registry or the WindCare solution to say, should somebody have been infected then you understand who was at the office on that particular day. So you've got those sort of reports, and you are better able to manage your staff and everything that pertains to human capital. You are able, like I said, for the staff, there's an app, and for your customers, because we can't, meet virtually all the time. We would like to have face-to-face meetings. So you can actually have a URL for your customers to actually book the appointment. They get the necessary approvals by the time they get to the gate. They've got they can scan the QR code, and they are allowed into the building. Can we move to the next slide, please? So in essence, what the solution actually helps with is that you are able to book your office space anywhere, anytime. You can actually book your nearest office, because like I said, it caters for multiple locations, multiple countries, and multiple time zones. It is a real-time solution. There is an admin web portal where you can actually sort of customize the solution according to your capacity, company policy. You also have, it also helps follow regulations, it eliminates vulnerability. As I said, that once you know that somebody was or has been infected with COVID-19, you are able to get the report to say, these are the people that were at the office at this particular time. Can we get them in quarantine? Can we test them? Or can we just make sure that we take precautionary measures? We can actually move on again. So basically, this is how the app would look like. You would download the app from the App Store, both Android and iOS. You actually register, you get your name, you get your password, and you actually register. You select the city. If the company or your organization has multiple offices, you select the office. In our case, if you're in Bangalore, you'd actually select the Bangalore office. But if you're in Nasik, you actually select that as well. And it gives you the list of offices and the number of space and the time slots that are actually available. You are then able to select the one that you require or you feel is more suitable to yourself. The app then takes you through the approval process. It confirms your booking. When you get to the gate or you get to the office, it actually can then now, you can scan the QR code to say, I have been pre-approved to actually be at the office at this particular time. So, matter of social distancing has actually been addressed in this solution. And we hope that it actually will come in handy. And I think it's not just a matter of, particularly now, but I think we need to actually realize that the new normal requires us to actually work from home. There will be times when we actually have to go to the office, and we actually have to manage that, in a strategic manner. And I think this solution actually caters for that, to say that, social distance needs to be part of our new normal. We need to make sure that we are booking our appointments accordingly, and making sure that occupancy rate is in line with the regulations. We can move on to the next slide.
That's me then.
Okay, thank you very much. That is me. I'm not sure for any questions.
We'll get them at the end. Let's get through there. Yeah.
Okay.
So the last solution we want to talk about is our Swift Connect. Actually, the name is likely to change in the very near future, but for the time being, we call it Swift Connect. So it's a video calling solution for business. So, we're using one now, Zoom, and obviously people are using things like Skype and Teams and things like that. I've just got a 10-minute warning, so I need to be quick. But the beauty of it is that it's something that you can install within your on-prem solution. So it's an enterprise level solution, and basically host and manage, the calls in-house. So it's not something that you would be sharing on a public platform, or have any risk there with regards to that. And the beauty of it really is that you manage the process in-house. an agent or an employee will send a link to a customer or somebody they want to have the video call with. So we were just talking about being in the office and not meeting virtually, and obviously this is the virtual solution. And the customer uses the link and it just opens a call in a browser. So you don't need an application. There's no need for third-party software to be installed. So any client can use it at any stage. So all, obviously, because of that, all devices are compatible. And we can brand it, so that it's a call, and you'll see some screenshots shortly, where it's now your company's solution and your call solution, not a third party that you're utilizing. We can use, we provide an SDK, so it's integratable with your existing system. So if you wanted to have it included in your existing site or applications, we can do that kind of thing. And obviously, audit logs we can maintain, so we understand who's used the call solution, who's been attending the meetings, that kind of thing. And your standard, features are available for screen sharing and things like digital walkthrough. So you're using your mobile to maybe go through, perhaps in a car dealership or doing a home, show house, if you're an estate agent or in that kind of industry. And the key for us here really is this on-prem solution. So it's the fact that you're hosting this in-house, it's your solution, and it keeps all the data, the call information, it's all within your environment. So, that's the key differentiator, I think, that we would say, between our solution and others that are available on the market. It's a fixed cost solution for most clients. So you pay for an implementation and have an annual license fee, so regardless of how many calls you make. So that's also really useful. So like I said, no installation required from the third party user, which is really great. It's very secure because it's on your environment. And different areas of implementation, obviously customer support and digital onboarding for, financial services, remote consultation perhaps for doctors, or again, financial services, remote demos such as we're doing, using it for recruiting purposes, and obviously in the education sector. So I like this feature a lot. It's kind of, how, what is my history of my meetings? So it gives you a breakdown of what meetings were taken part and who attended them. So that's a really great feature, I think, which you don't get from a lot of applications. To create the meeting is super easy. You give the meeting a name and invite attendees. You can have one person attending with you or multiple, or you can have different size meetings, and you can reduce those so that if you want more than 4 participants, maybe the person in the company has to ask permission to do that. So, very flexible interface. As far as features are concerned, obviously sharing screens, etc. I did this earlier when I was a bit chilly. The same as you're used to, and then utilizing that on your mobile. So this is me sharing this presentation on a mobile device. It works super well, really easy, no installation. I just literally open the browser and off it goes. So a really useful, secure video calling solution that enables you to own the product, own the call, and make sure that everything is kept in-house and is safe and secure. So we kind of rushed through that a little bit, but we didn't want to waste everybody's time. I don't know if we've had any questions from anybody. Manu, have we had anything? Are you there? Just see.
Stu, it's Lawrence here.
Yes, sir.
I can just quickly ask something.
Go ahead.
Could you send me some costing for the Swift chat, or what did you call it?
Swift Connect, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Swift Connect.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely something we can do. We can chat to you guys about that. Like I say, we're having a bit of a relaunch of it, so we can have a call about that. I mean, I know you're busy this week, so maybe we can do something early next week and get the product owner on that. Absolutely, sir. No problem.
Okay, thanks.
I can't see any comments.
There is a question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's I don't know if it's directed to you. It says, Stu, is there any work you're doing in the insurance space? And if so, what is it?
So insurance, obviously, I think it's probably more a Jay question in the insurance space, but it's definitely a space where we're working in. Things like RPA, doing robotic process automation. Seems the insurance sector has a lot of processes that can be improved, so that's a big space for us. Onboarding clients, using mobile applications and WhatsApp for onboarding, for claims, for accident reporting. That's the kind of things we're doing in the insurance space. And I think a big part of insurance as well is integration of different solutions. So you might have an underwriting solution, you might have a claim solution, you might have an like a quotation solution, and bringing those different solutions together so that they kind of talk to each other. I think that's kind of a key aspect. Jay, I don't know if you want to add anything on that.
Yes, Susie, I think you have covered almost everything.
Okay, all right. Okay, great. All right, guys, look, thanks very much. I don't see any more questions coming through. I don't know if there are any more. If you jump in, we've got a few more minutes, but and I can hang around, or we can have a chat afterwards if you want to. But look, thanks everybody for your attention. It was great, and I hope you get something out of it. And please feel free to get hold of any of us. If you have any queries or you want to know a little bit more about what we're offering and how how you might implement that in your business. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Oh, thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, team.
Thank you. Thanks. Cheers.